Welcome back. My name is Dr. Suzanne Van Hove, and we are continuing our discussion around the concepts specific to the service lifecycle phases. We've completed strategy, design, and transition. So where are we right now? We have now deployed that new or changed service, and we're now in service operation. So what does that mean? All right. So in service operation, we're going to be looking at the purpose, processes, scope, and the key concepts that are unique to service operation. And we're also going to look at the value proposition to the business. Now, within service operation, what are we doing? We are really maintaining, managing, and supporting the delivery of service so it meets the agreed requirements. Additionally, service operations staff should have been involved in all of the activities prior to going live. Otherwise, we would be trying to support a service that we know nothing about, and we may not even have those capabilities to support that new or changed service. So let's just assume at this point we've been involved throughout the life cycle, and now we are ready to run the activities specific to our life cycle phase. All right, so the purpose of service operation, it's to coordinate and carry out the activities and processes required to deliver and manage services at the agreed levels to business users and customers. So coordinate, carry out activities and processes. So we're delivering and managing services. So here is where the customer sees the result of the work that's happened within the service provider organization up to this point. They may not be aware of all the planning, the strategy, the designs, the manipulation of infrastructure and the coordination of the management systems and the development of metrics. They may not understand all of that or even be aware of it. But what they are aware of right now is whether or not they can use that new or changed service. The processes that are going to be supporting service operation, we have 5. So we have event management, really a proactive process that is centered around our monitoring capabilities. Incident management, how do we manage failure or reduced quality of service? Request fulfillment, how do we handle the request for services or for those standard commodity items? Access management, how do we manage the request for rights to data, to new applications or to services? And finally, problem management. How do we go about understanding why something has failed? We also have the 4 functions. We've talked about them in prior videos, but we've put them in this diagram as well so that you do not forget them. We have the service desk, technical management, IT operations management, and application management. So those are my 5 processes and the 4 functions. Do not forget that IT operations has 2 sub-functions included: IT ops control and facilities. The scope of service operation is rather broad. It's the services, the service management processes, the technology, as well as the people. So there's not much that service operation does not touch. We are a very broad life cycle phase, and we're there to manage and support every element. Some of the key concepts within the service operation phase are elements that we've already discussed. We've had a discussion around communication, but the last one is the common service operation activities of networks, servers, mainframes, directory services, storage, desktop support, and other areas. So these are your common layout of or organizational structure within an IT organization. What's the value proposition of service operation to the organization? First of all, if we have good processes in place, we can reduce that unplanned labor. We know when to run maintenance. We know how to address failure. We also, because we're aware of the designs and how they're created, as well as the components that those designs and services sit on, we can reduce the frequency and the duration of outage. Think about the description I just gave of event management, where we're utilizing monitoring capabilities. We may put alerts on our systems so that before something has failed, we have a heads up that we can address. We can also develop and gather meaningful management information, meaning what metrics do we have and how are we going to use and present them so that the customer as well as our other stakeholders understand the performance of our services and service management processes. We also will be able to meet the organizational security requirements. As we support the operational side of the house from an IT perspective, we have to fundamentally fit within the security requirements, therefore making sure that our data and information assets are protected. We also will standardize services to improve productivity and the quality of service delivery. It's much easier to deliver the same service to multiple customers rather than multiple customers dictating which service that they're getting or under what conditions. If we can find that happy medium, it makes a great deal of difference in the quality of the services delivered. Also, service operation will promote the concept of automation. So this is really going back to the benefit of utilizing technology to create the effectiveness and efficiency of service delivery while also improving the utility and warranty of services. So automation is always going to be to the forefront, but remember, we automate if only it benefits the business. The last phrase that I have here is one that's critical. It says, value becomes visible to the customer in service operation. I opened up this module with the concept that now that the service is available, the customer, the business, and many of the stakeholders have no idea what has happened in the background. And fair enough. But now value becomes visible. If the service that we're delivering does not meet the needs of the customer, where's the value? Remember, we talked about value as having the business outcome, the preference, and the perception. All three of those elements will dictate whether or not the customer is receiving or understands that they do have, there is a value proposition being delivered. So value becomes visible to the customer when they start using that service. So hopefully all of the components up until this time have worked together to create that value proposition. So that concludes a quick discussion around the elements that are unique to service operation. We've now gone from the strategy to the design to the transition to the ongoing delivery of that new or changed service. The next module is CSI. And here's where we're going to talk about how do we go about improving. We'll see you in the next module.